Hey everyone, I'm Alex Lee of GamesBeat, and I'm here with Mike DeLaet, the president of Ares Interactive, for another episode of The Big Show recorded at GDC Festival of Gaming. Thanks for coming, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Alex.
So, in addition to being the president of Ares Interactive, Mike is a very experienced game maker. He's got decades of experience across the industry and was, among other roles, instrumental in making the $4.9 billion acquisition of Scopely happen as the company's former SVP of strategic partnerships between 2020 and 2022. It's also worth noting that last month, Ares Interactive announced a $7 billion Series A funding round.
70 million.
Did I say billion?
Yeah.
We'll edit that out. $70 million Series A funding round. $70 billion will be Series B or Series C. So suffice it to say, you have a lot to discuss. And I think starting at the beginning is probably a fun way to start. We talked a little bit yesterday when we were just on our way to a dinner about your origin story. So I know that you're a farm boy from Kansas. But
yes.
Why don't we just dive into that? You want to tell the audience a little bit about how you got into gaming and also what brought you to your current role at Ares?
Yeah, sure. So I've been a game player since I've been probably 5 years old. I had all the original game systems, Commodore 64, ColecoVision, and Television, I think was what it was called back then. Obviously, the original Nintendo, Sega. I mean, I pretty much had everything. And so I loved games my whole life. Started my career, I was an engineer. So I was a next generation server and wireless engineer and kind of got down the more of the tech path. And met this guy, Chris Davis, who now works at Azure Games as the chief business officer, and he was running the video game division for Sprint, where I worked at the time. I had been at Sprint for, I think, 7 years at that point, and he decided to leave the company and went and joined Capcom. And I was being part of his team, sitting in on meetings as more of like a nerding out on gaming. And it's like, this is really cool that you guys get paid to do video games. And so when he left, they said, hey, Mike, you love games. You grew up playing games. Would you like to interview for this role? And it's in Kansas, so there's not like a lot of gaming companies or anything out there. And so I said, yeah, that'd be awesome. And I interviewed and got the job. And that's how I originally got into the gaming industry, is working on feature phone games at Sprint back in the day.
So what was your first video game ever when you were 5 years old?
That's a great question. I don't know. I want to say like RBI Baseball maybe was one of them.
Okay.
Pitfall. I remember, I don't know, it was so long ago.
I like RBI Baseball. Let's stick with that as the ansor, because you guys are releasing Baseball Hits 26, so it's full circle.
That's right, yeah, it kind of is. Yeah. It's kind of funny, but yeah, worked with and played a lot of those really old games back in the day. Obviously, Super Mario Brothers, classic, Legend of Zelda, classic. So that's the kind of games I grew up on. I
had a Commodore 64. I had one of those joysticks they made, like 10 years ago. You could just plug right into the TV and had all the classic Commodore games. So I've experienced some of those.
Yeah.
Like they had like this Winter Olympics game I used to love.
That's right, yeah.
I was thinking about that when I was watching the Olympics. Okay, so that's your origin story. Tell us a little bit about your role at Ares Interactive and how did you get there from your role at Sprint?
Yeah, I mean, I went to a bunch of different gaming companies. After Sprint, I moved to San Francisco and joined Glue. And at the time, Glue was a publicly traded gaming company worth about $40 million, so a very small cap company. I joined, I think, in October of, God, I'm forgetting all the date now. 2009, I want to say. And then 3 months later, Niccolo De Masi joined the company as our new CEO. And I'd met Niccolo when I was at Sprint, and he was at Hands On Mobile as the president. So he and I had already met before, and he came in, and he and I kind of helped pivot the company away from paid feature phone games to free-to-play smartphone games. And so it was a really painful process of teaching all the studios how to do free-to-play games. And we also had custom game engines at the time, so we pivoted to using Unity as our primary game engine. Back then, that wasn't super obvious either, but we all wanted not to be building core tech, but really building amazing games.
Right.
And Niccolo and I obviously stayed close in touch after that. I went on to Kabam, which at the time was our arch nemesis of, this other San Francisco-based gaming company that was doing really well, and helped them scale. We sold the company 4 years later. Then I left and founded my own game company, Rogue Games. So I was founder and CEO, raised a couple rounds of venture capital. Then went over to Scopely, worked for a couple of years, helped them with a lot of the cross-platform initiatives of going to PC and web and direct-to-consumer billing. And then went over to Mattel for a couple of years and led their digital gaming business for Mattel. And ultimately, Niccolo came back around. We still stayed in touch constantly. And he's like, look, building this new thing, Ares Interactive. Would you like to come over? And we started talking, and it worked out. And here I am. So
awesome. And by the way, I mean, it's worth saying, so your previous role right before Ares was at Mattel. And I mean, you did a fantastic job setting up their gaming division there. I mean, they've been smashing their numbers even, after you left,
Yeah.
and just continuing to grow. And I'll give you the credit for getting the ball rolling on a lot of that. So just props to you. What made you want to step away and start Ares? And maybe we can talk a little bit about the mission of Ares and maybe how that differentiates this company from other game companies. Just tell me a little more about the core focus and mission of Ares.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, we want to create amazing and engaging games that fans love, that they'll cherish for decades. Really create classics, like going back to what I mentioned, where I grew up playing, like Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda, like games like that, where they have fond memories of these things 20, 30, 40 years later, what came out. And we want to have games like that people will remember forever. They'll play for a very long time. Now, how we get there, of course, we're a little unique, right? We are leaning heavily into AI and how we do our workflows, but really putting a human touch on everything we do, because fun, engaging games are first and foremost the most paramount thing we could do. How we do things behind the scenes with analytics and, how we make decisions around games, a lot of AI is powering that. And that's how we're able to do it with so few people, but do it very productive, and so really trying to be more productive than any other gaming company out there. And therefore way more profitable than any other gaming company out there is kind of the idea.
Is having that strong AI backing and AI story something that helped you guys maybe to some extent buck the trend of fundraising being very difficult in gaming over the past year and successfully secure that $70 million Series A funding round?
It definitely helped. I think that the fact that Nicola and I have both had multiple exits in the past helps a lot, right? Because it gives investors confidence that we know what we're doing and we know how to go from 0 to 1, but also 1 to 10, and ultimately have a big exit for the company. Also we assembled a rockstar team, right? So it's not just me or Callie or other folks. Like, we have a great support cast here that from a lot of people from Glue, Kabam, Scopely, and other gaming companies, Warner Brothers, and so on, that have assembled like the super squad, the Avengers, so to speak, here at the company, right? So
yeah, I went to the Ares happy hour yesterday, and it was very cool to see so many different people from the company just really enthusiastic and clearly, coming up and slapping you on the back and just being excited to be there. So
yep.
You like that energy for sure. We also have it too at GamesBeat, I should say. But anyway, so the successful Series A funding round that you guys announced, do you see it as part of a bounce back? Like, is capital starting to return to gaming, or were you just able to secure a sort of a bright spot during what is a ongoing downturn in fundraising?
Well, I mean, I hope that capital is flowing more freely going forward, right? Because I want to see everybody do well. I want to rise all tides. I want all gaming companies to do well. It's good for us if gaming as an industry is doing well. So I don't want it to be where it's like Ares is doing well and no one else is. Like, obviously Scopely is doing quite well out there as well. But ultimately, we really want to see everybody do well, and we want these companies to get funding, because then new creative ideas come to market. I think competition and creativity help drive the industry forward. So I think it's good for everybody. Can't speak for what investors are really into or not, but I think every cycle there's new waves of technology and things that make it more interesting for investors to want to jump in. And I think right now AI is one of those big things, but not to say what's going to happen 6 months or a year from now or what. I mean, technology changes very fast. As you know, a couple of years ago, it was all Web3 craze, and year before that, it was all AR, VR.
Yep.
Before that, it was mobile gaming and free to play. So every cycle has unique kind of elements to it. And I think for us, we're leaning into free to play, which continues to do really well, and AI.
So I do think that, regardless of whether it's comeback or you guys were able to buck the trend, I think a lot of people will be looking to you to take cues for future fundraising. So I wanted to take this time to ask you maybe a slightly unusual question in this regard, which is, what won't you be doing? Are there definitely any third rails or risky areas of the business that you just know for sure that Ares is not planning to touch in the foreseeable future?
I don't think we'll touch premium games anytime soon, because it's a very hit-driven business. It's like the movie industry, and you can't really control your own destiny. So, like, I've launched tons of console games, and it's tough. Like, some of them do well, some of them don't do so well. Very few have that premium plus kind of label, like Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty, where they have long-term franchises with battle passes and sustainable ongoing revenue. The reason we love free to play is because you can have that ongoing revenue for 5, 10 plus years and build a real franchise out of it. So premium games, it's hard to do that with.
Out of curiosity, where do you stand on other sort of hype cycles that are making their way through gaming right now, like this rise of Hollywood and gaming IP being a potential revenue stream for gaming companies, are also user-generated content. Do you think that these are real sustainable areas of growth for the industry?
When you say Hollywood IP, do you mean like Paramount and others like that getting into gaming?
I guess more properly, gaming IP being translated into Hollywood, and that being a revenue stream for gaming companies moving forward.
No, I think it's exciting, and it's not the first time you've seen movies and TV shows based off gaming IP. Obviously, I think it's done better as of late than it did when I was a kid. I remember there was a pretty bad Super Mario Brothers live action movie back in the day that could have been better, but
it has its charms now. But yeah.
Obviously, nowadays they're doing a lot better on that front with more of the animated Super Mario Brothers and stuff. But it's exciting. I like it. And Last of Us, did extremely well for on TV, and I think it's cool for the industry. So yeah.
Today is actually Mario Day. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
March 10th, MAR 10. It's Mario Day.
There you go.
So well said.
Yeah.
I wonder if GDC did that intentionally. So what else do you see as the potential bright spots moving forward for gaming? Like anything that I haven't mentioned so far that could be an area of growth for companies in this space in the coming year or two?
Well, I think tech will continue to evolve, and beyond just AI and the tools that brings. But I think smart glasses could be another cool area that VR didn't quite take off like people hoped because of the social elements to it. But if you get these Tony Stark sunglasses or eyeglasses that you can play games, you don't look socially awkward, you can still hear your friend talking to you, that could be really cool. And I think smart glasses are going to be the future of computing in general. That your phone will be the processing, but it's all wireless to your glasses, right? And
do you own any smart glasses or headsets?
I've had some in the past, but they're not quite there yet. But I do think in the next 5 to 10 years, they will be there.
Yeah, I went to a hackathon at MIT a couple months ago that was all about XR, AR, and VR. And I mean, I was impressed. I think what I saw was the hype has fully subsided, and now people are just building in that space. And now we're starting to have 3-dimensional monitors that don't even require headsets and glasses. Right. And I think you're right that's maybe one of the next frontiers in gaming.
I think it's going to be cool, yeah.
But let's talk, I want to bring it back to you as a gamer. So what's in the current rotation right now? What are you playing when you clock out after a long day?
Yeah, I don't play as much as I'd like because I obviously am working a lot of hours. But the games I play, I'm mostly a PS5 gamer when I'm not playing mobile games. And I play Madden and Call of Duty and whatever newer games coming out. I played the Indiana Jones game that came out not too long ago from Bethesda. Thought that was pretty awesome.
Nice.
So really, I'd say more PC console when I'm at downtime because I play so many mobile free-to-play games. Like,
oh yeah,
that's not the thing I want to do in my off time.
I can't imagine.
But I still play them, when I'm traveling or whatever. But yeah, that's mostly it. More Madden, Call of Duty. More.
And you have kids who are you have kids between like 16 and 21, right?
That's right. Yep.
Are they gamers as well?
They are, but my son will call himself a gamer. He's 21, and Callie has met him. He grew up more PC gamer, which, funny enough, I did too back in the day. So he plays more things like Fortnite and League of Legends and stuff like that on PC. My daughters are more into Roblox. So they were real big Roblox players growing up. I think they're kind of starting to semi-age out of it a bit, but that's what was their kind of platform of choice.
Interesting. Yeah. That's a good data point that they're aging out. Roblox hates that we're talking about this on this podcast. Like, age out? What? No one does that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously older people can still play Roblox, but for them, like I think they're just losing interest. They're moving to more traditional mobile games as they've gotten older. But my younger daughter still plays Roblox, and there's always that cool factor too with the kids at school. Like, are the other kids doing it or not, and whatnot. Yeah.
Oh, I'm very bullish on Roblox, to be clear.
No, I
didn't mean to be a critic. Don't come for me in my sleep, Roblox. So I want to talk about Star Wars now. Hopefully it's okay for me to talk about this, and you have proper security measures in place. But Mike has a 18-karat golden lightsaber in his collection. I can talk about this, right? Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about? So, is Star Wars specifically your area of fandom, or are you just a collector in general?
I'd say I have a mix of it's probably 80% Star Wars, 15% Marvel, and 5% DC at this point.
So why Star Wars? Why Star Wars the 80%?
It was the coolest thing ever when I was a kid. The movie came out when I was a little kid. The lightsaber I thought was the coolest thing ever.
It is.
Honestly, if they made a real one, I'd go run and buy one, right? Probably cut my leg off with it. But, I just thought it was cool. Jedi's and their powers, Sith and their powers. I always had a lot of fandom around that. And It was just, something I connected with early on. Back to the Future was another IP that I really loved. In fact, I have the Mattel pink hoverboard at the house.
Wow.
And when I joined Mattel, I was like, we got to put that in a game. And so we ended up putting it into Subway Surfers as like an update, where Back to the Future update with the Mattel hoverboard in it. And,
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you have any other Back to the Future stuff in your collection?
I got a little mini DeLorean and a couple things, but not a ton.
You don't have those shoes that tie themselves?
I had a newer pair like that, but they weren't very comfortable.
Well, you got to sacrifice if you're tying automatically, I suppose.
That's right,
yeah. Okay, so we went Back to the Future, Star Wars, Marvel as well?
Marvel and DC, yeah.
Marvel Comics or Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Both. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm. I'm more of a DC fan myself, but I like them both. All right. Who's your Marvel superhero of choice then?
I'd say growing up it was Spider-Man, but nowadays with Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man,
Oh, okay.
I love tech. He's tech,
All right, so
he's kind of the Bruce Wayne of the Marvel universe, right?
So when are we gonna, no pressure, but are we gonna start seeing some of these favorite IPs that show up in Ares Interactive projects?
We're talking to all IP owners, so we want to make amazing games. So if we can lean into great IP, great fandom, and build an amazing game that's engaging and fun to the audience, we'll consider it for sure.
I would love to see more. I think your bona fides as a Star Wars fan, I think, legitimize you as the person to be doing it. Would you say that the golden lightsaber is your most prized collection item?
No, I don't think so, actually.
Oh.
I had this one that was dual signed by James Earl Jones and David Prowse. That was a Darth Vader.
Well,
a lot of people consider that the Grail lightsaber. But these things are really hard to come by because the two companies that were making them all went out of business. So there's a newer company called EFX Collectibles that's making them. But they don't have the rights to all the lightsabers that were made in the past. So you have to try to get them off eBay or in like these big entertainment auctions, and they can get pretty pricey, and they've gone up in value dramatically over the years because a lot of them were limited where they only made sometimes as low as 10 of these or sometimes 20 or 30 of them. And they're all numbered, right? So if you get them damaged or they get destroyed in fire or get stolen or something, like it's gone forever. So having them original in the box, all this stuff complete is pretty hard to come by these days.
Awesome. Yeah, it's worth noting that the golden lightsaber is the only one that is available to collectors on the market. This is a piece of Mike DeLaet lore that I learned before we recorded this episode. So sorry. Hopefully your wife doesn't mind that we're talking about your.
She hates my habit, but she's put up with me.
I would say it worked out overall.
Yeah.
So have you gotten your kids into Star Wars as well?
Yeah, they love it, but not like I do.
Yeah. That's it's too bad. They have time to grow into it.
And nostalgia kicks in after a while, right? Yeah.
What else? Just besides Star Wars and collecting, what else do you like to do in your free time? Do you do like any sort of outdoorsy sports, hiking, that kind of thing?
Some. I'd say I'm more into cars and weightlifting and stuff like that. Sports. I love NFL. Love Major League Baseball. Love NBA. So definitely love a lot of sports, and hence why it's super awesome to be working on a baseball game. But yeah, that's the main things I get into. My son's also a big sports guy, so he and I talk about it a lot. My daughters are more into gymnastics and soccer. So sports that I like, but they're not my favorite. But watching my daughter do gymnastics and all these crazy flips, it's pretty impressive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna end you on just one more fun question. Favorite video game of all time? It's not a first video game. Just you got to pick one. This is definitive.
Yeah, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah.
I never got past the first dungeon in that personally.
It's an amazing game. Yeah,
it's a good one. Well, you heard it here first. Legend of Zelda. Thank you, Mike, for taking the time. Really appreciate not only the deep dive into Ares, but I hope you don't mind that I did more of a personal look into you and your background as a gamer and collector. I was an editor of Wikipedia, which is the Star Wars wiki, when I was a kid. So
that's cool.
That part of the conversation really resonated.
That's right, yeah.
And just appreciate you taking a few minutes out of the chaos of GDC to speak to us. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah.